What do you think it's about? How would you describe what it is about Black Thought that makes him incredible, revered to the level he is?
Ooh, so Black Thought, you're talking about a guy who is in one Black Thought verse. You're gonna get fashion. You're gonna get African ancestry. You're gonna get how good he is as an MC. He's gonna brag about himself. You're gonna get the hood/ghetto experience. You're gonna get some travel information, right? You're gonna hear about, I don't know if I said this already, you're gonna hear about food that you've probably never tried before. You're gonna get all of these things in a 16 to 50 bar verse. And it's gonna be so high level. The technique is gonna be perfect. The breath control is the pocket presence is pristine. The lyrics are great. It resonates. And a lot of that is just him in the gym. He's in the gym all day. When I went to see him, and when I say in the gym, I mean mental, right? When I went to see Jimmy Fallon, between breaks, when they go to commercial, he's rapping a brand new verse every single time. That's in his job, to have multiple verses, new verses. So that's the reason why us as lyricists look at that, like that is like quintessential lyricism. Like he compiles so much information into a verse that it just it's overwhelming sometimes, and then it's high level on top of the overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Ninth Wonder. I interviewed him. I did a GOAT piece on Black Thought. I have a series on my channel where I make arguments as to why certain artists could be considered greatest of all time. Now, I'm not making the arguments. What I'm more so saying, all of them in the same way. I might not agree, but I understand, right? Because of the impact these people have. So it's really giving people their trophies, right? And I interviewed Ninth Wonder for that piece. And one of the things he talked about was how the air changes amongst MCs when Black Thought walks in the studio. He said there's a lot of people who, like, there's a level of fear that hits people. Have you ever had that experience, or have you ever seen that?
So I wrote a song called A-, where I'm rapping about the letter A without using the letter A. Black Thought's supposed to be in the remix. So mind you, when I do this, I send it to all the lyricists that I know. I'm talking everybody you could think of that you might have as a top lyricist, with the exception of a Kendrick and an Andre and an Eminem. Everybody else got the record. So I send it to Black Thought. He's the only one who, out of the blue, starts writing the verse. He wrote a verse, right? So this is my moment. This is my moment. He responds, he's like, oh, this shit is fire. What is this? And I tell him what I did. Next day, I get a whole verse about the letter A without the letter A in it from Black Thought, right? So now, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Because my verse, I'm telling the history of the letter A. So I'm breaking down the history of it. His verse was talking about how the other letters are jealous of the letter A. Without using the letter A in it. So I'm reading this and I'm just like, you're fucking kidding me, right? And I'm like, you gotta record this. He's like, I got you. And obviously he never got a chance to record it, and I still have the written of it. But even, we weren't in the studio, but even in the text universe, the text atmosphere, there was a fear, because I didn't ask him to write a verse. I did not ask him to do it. He did it on his own. So you gotta understand the level of insanity that brings, right? Or, I live in Atlanta now. There's another story. There's another Black Thought story. How about this? I'm driving to Atlanta, and I'm listening to my music. I come across a record. I'm like, yo, this record's kind of hard. Unreleased. I send it to Black Note. Hour later, he sends me 3 EPs. He sends me 3 unreleased EPs. No, on my son's life, bruh. I had, it wasn't making. I'm like, why do you do this, bro? Right. So that is the level of. That's why I have him ranked. I have him ranked super high, right? Because of what he's able to do. But that's conditioning, and that's the reason why that air, when he walks in the studio, you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if you ask for a 16, you don't know if he might just decide, I want to do 50. You deal with it. You deal with this 50. You got your 16, you deal with this 50. You're gonna drop the 50 and then you're gonna walk out the studio. To me, that's upper echelon, high tier level.
1 second applause. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think there's a lot of MCs that I think, I'll say this. One thing I understand is meaningful and impactful also has a commercial component to it, right? So I think it's very difficult for some fans to consider the greatness of MCs who may not have the same commercial impact, right? Yeah. And I don't know if that's the best way. Well, I know factually that's not the best way to compare certain MCs, right? So like MF Doom, for example, I don't think the way to talk about MF Doom is to talk about the greatness of him commercially.
Correct.
But how would you describe for people who might be hearing this, even though Doom low-key be smoking these cats on Spotify streams, by the way. You want to go look at you want to put some numbers on something, go look at Doom's monthly Spotify streams for this guy you've probably never heard of, most people outside of hip-hop. But how would you describe what makes MF Doom great?
I mean, I think Doom, the way he put his stuff together, rhyming full sentences, the production, the sound of it, and a lot of people might not like to admit it, but we're all comic book heads. So the fact that this guy was like raps Dr. Doom is incredible. The storytelling that he did from his space, and low key even his accent, right? Like, even though I think he was born in Europe, but he feels he's a New York nigga, right? That was his exact words. You can still hear that element of Europeanness there. All of these things, and then he was consistent. Like the consistency was also there, and then there was also a mystique, right? There was also this mystique. I had a show with Common. Well, I didn't have a show with Common. I was on Rock the Bells, and Common was backstage at Chicago, and MF Doom's manager was there. And this is 2008, when Doom was just kind of starting to kind of permeate. And Doom's manager was talking to me and Common. It was me, Common, and Doom's manager. And he was like, I was like, yeah, so when's Doom's next show? He's like, Doom is not performing. He's sending people to perform as him, right? So I was like, wait, what? He was like, yeah, because Doom, you don't see his face, so it's just the Doom mask. I was like, wait, so Doom is collecting money while not performing, but it's somebody else as him? He was like, yes, they changed their voice and everything to rap as Doom. And he said, like a Doom bot. He was like, yeah, it's like, He's like Doom is in New York. He has a show in San Francisco somewhere. It was the most, I'd never heard anything like that in my life. So that mystique, there's been instances where he was double booked, and he would just send a Doom bot to do it. He'll pay the Doom bot and then he'll collect the money. To me, that kind of mystique on top of the lyricism, he was great at technique. Rhyming full sentences, everything matched, and then it would be very out the box. Like, it would just be out the box. And then sometimes when he zeroed in, it would be even more potent. So like, Doom is one of the best ever. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. I wish I got a chance to meet him. One of the best ever.
Yeah, and he's funny. Doom is funny. On this topic of lyricism, last night you dropped a blacked out Twitter video. And so you were sort of recapping the conversation, but you said some things in there I thought were pretty poignant, and I ended up sharing it on my page. But you're talking about how, it's important to have these conversations about lyricism. It's important to talk about MCs from a lyrical standpoint because they're currently trying to box us out. Hip hop is shrinking, rap is shrinking, and if we're not going to carry on, I'm paraphrasing, if we're not going to carry on this culture, we're in danger of losing it. Can you elaborate on that and explain where you're coming from for people who might not have seen that?
Yeah, I mean, I was taking in obviously, the conversation that happened, and it was mostly positive, but then there was still people like, I still kept seeing comments like, and I'm working on not responding to everything, but I kept seeing comments saying, why do they keep bringing up this Lupe and Kendrick thing, right? And I'm like, to me, this conversation of lyricism, this conversation that you and I are having about lyricism, whether I might be off the rails or on point or not, it's keeping this thing going, right? I think about this like the Terminator, right? When you watch not the first Terminator movie and not even the second Terminator movie, we're talking about what John Connor is a fully fledged soldier. There is a secret sect of people that are trying to keep humanity alive by any means necessary. And the robots, to me, are the machines, right? Not the robots are the machines, pardon me. The robots are the industry, right? That are pushing forward their version of what society should be. Whereas this small faction of people is trying to keep this humanity thing alive. So a person may feel that I'm clout chasing, or they may feel like I am trying to stay relevant, or they may feel like I'm off the rails and I'm just saying like I study this for a living. I teach it for a living. I've gotten respect from my peers, right? I'm validated by the people that practice this. And I've even gotten scholars, right, who study this and teach this in universities that look to me at what I do. They value my opinion. And when you have that kind of unasked responsibility, I think it's very important to put lyricism in people's faces. So many things go viral in our community, in the hip hop community, right? Like we'll see, and again, I ain't got no problem with Sexy Red. When she puts out her lipstick and it's chlamydia flavored lipstick and
nut. She had one called Nut.
And it goes viral, right? It's like, what are we doing here, right? Like, and that's no knock to her, do what you gotta do, but why can't both things exist? Why can't we go viral for having a conversation about the lyricist? Now, I understand why people may say, you can have this conversation without putting someone down, but it goes back to what we were saying off camera. It got cut at a specific point. They asked each person who is your favorite lyricist, and they asked me why. And when I said, I didn't say Kendrick like everybody else did. I was like, well, I got somebody a little bit higher than him. That's not me invalidating Kendrick's pen. It's me saying this person to me is a little bit higher, and here's why, right? And I think that's important. That conversation is important. Not saying that Kendrick can't do the things that Lupe can do. I'm basing it off of what we've already heard. So in closing, I feel that it's important for the Justin Hunts to talk about lyricism. It's important for the Mickey Faxes to talk about lyricism. It's important for the Lupe Fiascos to teach about lyricism. It's important for the Timothy Welbecks to have full courses on Kendrick Lamar and him as a writer in schools. That is important. We have to continue to do this because the margin of lyricism is shrinking. It is shrinking. And I'm grateful for an artist like Jid, right? JID, Jid, whatever you want to call him. He's pushing the boundaries of what's being done, right? He's stamping his mark. What Saha the Prince is doing, right? He's going to these radio stations, cooking up King Los, what he's doing, Elzai, Black Thought, Hunte, if whenever he decides to return, Royce, whenever he decides to return, right? All of these guys, the Ransoms, 38 Specials, I can name people all day long, right? Aesop Rock, all of these people have to continue this conversation, whether on forums like these or through their art. It just so happens that I love it as much as a lot of other purists love it. And if whatever I can do to continue this conversation, healthy dialogue, this is healthy, right? I love Ray, and I'm probably gonna be working with him in the future, but that stuff it's a little chaotic, it's a little frenetic, you know. But if his platform will allow my voice and messaging to reach people that may not agree, but still kind of respect what I'm doing, by all means, I'll do whatever I got to do. I'll take the bullets. I'll take the tomatoes. I'll take the cabbages. I'll take whatever I need to take, the pennies to keep this thing alive. And I think even starting Pendulum Inc. is an extension of that, right? Mm. You know, like the children of Israel, they had to walk around for 40 years until they died off. I'm not saying that these artists need to walk around and die off, but I want to get this stuff into the schools so that they can learn how to do this thing properly, so that the generations can continue to keep this beautiful art form that we created out of poverty and out of out of nothingness and necessity to be one of the leading exports of America, from a fashion standpoint, a artistic rhythm standpoint, a language standpoint. All marketing in America borrow from the language that poor kids in New York City created. And then that dialect, it's like the Tower of Babylon. It just went throughout the entire country and then eventually the entire world to create even more language. It's just a beautiful thing, man. Mm. It's just a beautiful thing. And I want to leave my mark in that way.
Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom happening. Systematical culture views, it's radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dabbing them. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, dog. You don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.